Well, we're here. So far, we have 0 viewers. I don't know. Hopefully that goes out. I don't know if people are getting. Oh, somebody's here. Hey. The winner of the one person that actually claimed their prize when they won. Is that right? Who I've got in chat. I don't know if you're cool with me saying your name or not. Hang on. I gotta run refill my drink real quick. I'll be right back. Right on. So that's looks like we got 2 people here. I don't know if that's counting or not, or if we got somebody else that hasn't piped up in chat yet. Does everything sound okay to y'all? Everything look all right? This is like the first time I've attempted to do this. I tried to log into StreamYard. It went all sideways on me. It was bonkers. Well, so I don't know. I wanted to do something different. I'm trying to kind of expand what I'm doing and maybe get some more interaction with people and actually get to have conversations with people and get to have conversations with you all. You show up here and chat, and then I can interact with you directly. And I don't know, I, I feel like it's missing, um, and everything that's going on just in the world in general, especially where I live. It's just feels very like people are just separated. I live in this like small town of like less than 5,000 people, and so I'm like on Tinder and like trying to meet people and stuff, and like it's just, it's you know the world just feels too impersonal anymore. And I think especially in some of the other circles I run in, like on my vanilla YouTube account, there's a lot of like really like tight knit community and people who know each other, and there's like Discord servers for all of these content creators that people are in, and I'm in multiple ones of that with my vanilla account. So, but and it's great, and I get to just like message like people that have PhDs and just shoot the shit with them. It's freaking amazing. And so like I I sat back and was like, We really need that for like us, like we need to be able to have that kind of community where we actually can come together and talk together. And I mean, there's a few of them that exist out there, like Dear Jazzy's Discord for if you don't know the Jasmine Starshine, if you don't know Dear Jazzy podcast, awesome podcast. I've met Jazzy in person once, and then said stuff to her online that some of it was she was probably like, "Why are you saying this to me right now?" But then I have one of those brains where I get these funny ideas and somebody from a podcast said something and so I just blurt stuff out at them and they're like, "Okay, dude." So, but uh I've met her in person once at Capcom. Jazzy's awesome. I've listened to the podcast. It's a great podcast. She's occasionally on like the usual bet, and I've talked about that podcast here before, and I think people should definitely be listening to that. And then they have like a Discord server through their Subscribe Star, and hiya to the other people that we have a second person who's piped up in chat. Like you all tell me if you're cool with me saying your names just because, um I don't know if you're worried about your screen name being said on this stream or not. So anyway, um yeah, my life got weird and I had all kinds of crazy life changes happening and okay, I5. That's that's cool. And that is pretty probably quite a few people who would pick a screen name like that. Yeah, yeah. Interstate 5, I-5. I'm from the Midwest. We just say I whatever because we know that stands for interstate. But uh, yeah, I have a vague understanding of where it would be. You know, um, I have gotten to travel to California. I got to go to San Francisco, which I just that's a beautiful city to see. Alcatraz is awesome to do the tour there. Chinatown is amazing. I loved San Francisco. Oh, you grew up in Indiana too? Holy smokes, that's awesome. Do you mind giving a vague I grew up in Northwest Indiana, and yeah, yeah, I there's, like, certain hot spots, Interstate 5. Oh, there's lots of diaper boys out here. Oh, Lake Station. I grew up not far from there. I still live relatively close, although I live in Illinois now. I still work in Indiana, so, uh, but yeah, I'm still in that area, that rural area, and it's yeah, like, but as far as the diaper boys go, that's a very, like, niche interest for me. Uh there's only been a couple of diaper boys that I've ever met where I was like, "You know what? I would change that diaper." Uh, mm, it's been very few. In fact, I think it's only been 2 out of the hundreds that I've met and talked to. I am definitely more interested in the ladies. Um, but, eh, it is what it is. Just out here, it doesn't matter what gender. Uh, yeah, well, hey, man, something I probably never talked about on here. So I kind of, I think, somewhat talked about this a little bit, but like, I grew up with this, being ABDL. I knew like preschool age, I just wanted to wear diapers. I don't know why. That's like I was just aware of it and knew that. Like I had a babysitter when I was that age, like threatened to put me back in diapers, and I was like, in my brain, I knew I couldn't say to her in that moment, "Yeah, yes, do that," but, like, my brain was going, "Yes, that's what I want," and I knew it was wrong to say it, so I didn't, but, like, you know, so that's how long I've known, so I've grown up feeling this way and knowing that and s for all intents and purposes, being completely alone with it, because you're talking about the early 1980s in the rural Midwest, um, and so, like, I was full on an adult before the internet really became ubiquitous. I'm gonna be 45 here in a few weeks. So it just kinda I was alone. Um, there's a department store called Harvey's in Lake Station. Yeah, I'd go there to look at baby clothes, wishing I could still fit in them. Yep, yep, oh, yeah. This was in the 1970s and 1980s. Okay, so we're close in age, and you know exactly the kind of vibe I'm talking about of, like, if you may not be alone. There may be one other person within 100 miles of you, but there's no way you're ever gonna find each other. 3, yeah, so you're 9-ish, 8, 9 years older than me, somewhere in there. Yeah, so, yeah, you know what I'm talking about then. You've been through this. I'm preaching to the choir here, so we'll change subjects. Um Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, I didn't yeah, okay, so tangenting back here. Sorry. Um So growing up being different and also growing up being psychologically, emotionally, and physically abused by my mother, um, and then and there was a lot of, like, religious stuff involved with that, and I was a very religious person up until, like, I was 18 years old, and I got a Bible for my confirmation when I was 14, I think, or 13. And, I read that thing cover to cover. I Dude, I knew the Bible inside and out. I read it like, I took 4 years, and every day I would read as much as I could read and just process as much as I could process for 4 solid years. Um, and then the last guest sermon I gave in my ch I gave guest sermons all the time in my church. Um, the last one I did was like an indictment of the congregation. I was like, "Hey, the whole thing here is this is supposed to be making us better people, and here you guys are between 60 and 80 years old, and not one of you are any better. You're just the same bitter, crotchety people you've always been. So this obviously isn't working." And I walked away from the church. So St. Bridget's in Hobart. St. Bridget's? Catholic, or is that, um, uh, Episcopalian or St. Bridget? St. Bridget was the, Catholic. Okay, yep. Okay, Bridget was the, saint of beer. Uh, I did a Irish descent woman named Bridget. She was awesome. Um, I The best relationship I've ever had in my life, and there was 0 sex involved. She was ace. So, um, anyway, um, so, like, and then I'm also left-handed. So, I've always been weird. I've always been the odd man out, even though I look just like everybody else. And so as I've, like, got older and became an adult and gone through all these other things and everything else, um, when, like, people of color and LGBTQ plus people, kinky people, or whatever, when people come up to me and say, "Hey, this is my experience," feeling othered, I do know what it feels like. I do understand. I was the one that was bullied. I was the one that was beaten on. Uh, don't for not being weird enough. Yeah, that's some shit I would pull. I would definitely, uh, especially these days, be like, you know what, I'm sorry, but you're just boring. This is boring. I can't do this. We do have another couple people in chat not piping up. Uh, so, but anyway, so that's like kind of like the whole thing behind like 12 letters and what the 12 like the name 12 letters for the podcast really means. It's like I'm ABTL, ABTL is kink one way or another all kind of goes back to the BDSM, what BDSM stands for. Um, so, ABDL, BDSM, LGBT, 12 letters, just trying to get as everybody. Um, and why I'm so adamant about it, it's because, like, no, as a cishet white male, like, I've been othered my entire life. And, like, and oh, it's the I've met one other person. I met somebody through work that said this to me exactly the way that I say it, and I just was like, "Oh, kindred spirit, finally." Um, he's he goes, "Man," he goes, he's like, "It's just so awful because I look like the rest of these people, and they come up and they think it's okay to just say the grossest shit to me, and it just makes me it's like I throw up in my mouth every time because, like, when you look like one of them, they'll just roll up to you and say whatever's on their mind, no matter how gross it is, and they probably don't even know it. They're just like, because they never had anybody tell them, like, "No, dude, that's fucked up to say. Don't say that, Here's why." Like, which basically boils down to that's your fellow human being. What is wrong with you, you sociopath? You know? So, um, but yeah, that's why like, I have a pride badge that or a button, that I wear to work every day. Um, in June, and you know, yeah, yeah, I did, and that's the thing that sucks is I'm kind of stuck where I'm at right now because I'm a biological parent, and I had to fight my ex to, you know, keep my kid here instead of moving them to some place that, yeah, this area is fucked up, but like, yeah, she has friends and family here, and she's safe here, and I'm me, and like, dude, my kid is 8 years old, and she knows every word to Linoleum by No Effects. So, like, my kid's gonna be fine, and I'm teaching her, like, teaching her the basics, and then I'm gonna put her in karate in the next few years, and she's gonna be fine. But yeah, so now I'm stuck in this podunk small town until she goes to college, and then I'm gonna sell my damn house and just travel and I don't know, make documentaries or something. I don't know. I, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I just like Henry Roll. Liar by Het Rollins Band. So on the weekends when we clean the house together, I'll pull up my vanilla YouTube stuff where all my music stuff is, and it's just like everything that I listen to in this big long list. And Liar by Rollins Band came up, and I was telling her, I'm like, this is Henry Rollins. I was like, he was a singer of this band called Black Flag, and he's a really just awesome human being, and he's a great patriot, and he's an amazing American, and you know, like all this stuff. And I don't know. Uh Husker Du, yeah, yeah. Oh, and Bad Religion. I used to sing when my daughter was a baby and I was rocking her to sleep at night. I used to sing Sorrow and Kyoto Now to her. Um, and I've told her that as we've listened to them later. I'm like, I used to sing this to you as a baby, I was rocking you to sleep. And she loves it all. Um, let's see, what's been on the list lately? It's been Real Big Fish. Yes, yes. Like, especially when you get to, Process of Belief, like, the way his voice matured when you get to Process of Belief. So, but, yeah, like, real bunch of Real Big Fish. It's the first song that always plays in the list is Beer by Real Big Fish. I love that song. That snare sound is just, ugh. So, right on, right on. Raise Your Voice. So, and let's see what else is on there. There's a bunch of No Effects, The Interrupters, um, uh, Rancid, uh, oh gosh, who else? Goldfinger. Oh, we got into this whole thing the other night of like cover songs, is because Real Big Fish covered "Take on Me" by Aha, and then what else was there? There was another one. There was a couple of them. I can't think of 'em. Oh, 99 Balloons, Goldfinger. 99 Red Balloons, Goldfinger. Uh, that was, Nina from the '80s. So I was showing her that and going back and forth between the 2 videos, and then this old heavy metal band that I was in, we actually did a version of Sweet Dreams. And if you could imagine, like, the vocalist from Lamb of God singing Sweet Dreams with the band from System of a Down playing it is what it sounded like. We also covered White Rabbit, which bonkers, dude. It was awesome. Uh, so if that kinda gives you any indication of how it is that, like, I'm raising a punk rock kid. I used to be a rock musician, heavy metal musician. I was even in a rap group once upon a time. It was, you know, I didn't stop until I was in my mid-30s. Pink Turns Blue. I don't know that one by name. I'm gonna have to look that one up. Put that on my phone. So, uh, well, the view counter still tells me that I've got 2 people, 4 people watching, but only 1 person talking to me through chat. Anybody got any questions? Anybody got somebody that's old? Like, I'm 44 years old. I've been wearing for 22 years, like, and just going through that whole evolution and everything else and dealing with it and the emotional evolution and the shame, going through 2 divorces and a relationship in between those, and then like my subsequent relationships after my divorce, you know, um, all kinds of craziness. What got me into divorce? I Holy smokes, 71. Oh, then I really am preaching to the choir because you went through way more shit than me, dude. Oh. Although I will say, because of where I grew up, I didn't know because you had people like, Kent. He was on an episode of, Love and Brief, and, like, he was in the New York scene in, like, the '60s and '70s and stuff where it was, like, 12 people from across the country who just happened to find each other. So oh, wow, since you were 11 or 12. Holy smokes. Yeah, no, I haven't. I was an adult, before I got to again because, like, the couple of times I get caught as a kid, I literally got the shit kicked out of me, like like, abuse, like, child abuse, got the shit kicked out of me over it. Um, so I was 22, so it's been 22, 23-ish years, so I guess you guys don't really have a whole lot of questions for me then, because y'all been through worse shit than me. Yeah, well, it's eh, it it's kinda a whole part of the whole thing is, like, um, I am who I am in spite of my parents, not because of them, and I'm the parent that I am because of them, or in spite of them, and my kid is, like, being the rock musician person that I am, she's my middle finger to the world. So, yeah, 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 none of us have had it easy. And there's and the thing is like we're so late in the game right now of like trying to explain to people why to like, hey, you just for your own benefit have to let go of the guilt and the shame and just be who you are. Um, it's kind of crazy. Um, but there's just so much, especially now, like if I don't know if any of y'all are on Reddit, but like there's like r/ABDL personals and it's just scammer mommies everywhere, dude, everywhere. And you click one of their posts and there's just like 20 people just like begging for attention. And it's like, dude, you don't know how to pull open their profile and figure out that they're a scammer. That it's so stigmatized and still so shamed, people still internalize all that outward shame that gets thrust upon them from these messages that we get sent from the outside world. And it's unfortunate, and it creates these kinds of situations where you have these scammers where they know that they just say the right thing and people are just going to hand over money because they're so desperate, and all it comes down to is like just having some real self-esteem and making the choice that, hey, you know what, I'm going to acknowledge the good things about this to myself, and I'm going to not just not be a bad person because of this, but I'm going to be a better person because of this, which is a actually easy thing to do if you really like get down to the nuts and bolts of it. Like for me, maintaining that like childlike sense of wonder about the world and loving to learn about science. I am a huge like science nerd. Like, like how many people can tell you that you as a human being are what's called a catarrhine monkey, the old world monkeys. And the reason that you're an old world monkey is because you have a dry nose with nostrils that point downward. That's what classifies you specifically as a catarrhine monkey. Like, you know, and And that's really what all of this for me is about is I don't know, let's get nerdy. Let's the anthropology and the human behavior and the psychology and everything else, the sociology, and it's all mixed in there. Let's talk about historically what we've seen and what we're seeing now and you know the ABDL subculture of kink culture of the human species, because it's a worldwide phenomenon. It's something that we have far, far back in the history. Um, just like every other variation that's out there, these people try to act like trans is like some new thing, and it's like if it were a new thing, why does the Babylonian Talmud recognize 8 different genders? What are you talking about? Like what if the purple smells like 10? What conversation are we even having right now? You know? So, um, I don't know. How long have we been going? There's a timer running somewhere. I lost track of it. Uh, oh, there it is. 30 minutes. I don't know. It's just the 3 of us. You guys, uh, I don't know. As some old schoolers, you got anything you hear the youngsters talking about online that you just don't get? Wanna I don't know. Got y'all got anything interesting to offer up? Either of you part participate in Locktober? Because that was a wild month for me. Mm. Uh, hmm. Haven't done October. Yeah. So, I've got an episode of the podcast that's like I'm kinda saving everything up and trying to build a little more of a backlog so I don't have to, because like, I have an extremely busy life, but, oh, what's that? Okay, this is really gonna be fun. Um, so I have an episode about for the podcast, where I talk about, like, trying out things, new things to you, like, it's like, I dove into this, and there's a lot of crossover kinks and different things. I'm sure I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know, uh, but, like, doing chastity and, like, I'm like, I I had no interest in it whatsoever. I'm like, and that's not for me, you know. Um, but then I noticed like on the various social media platforms where ABDL people are like really interacting. There's a lot of conversation about this. So I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. I'll try it out. At the time I had money to spend on things like that. Uh, so I was like, forget it. I'll buy a chastity cage and try it out, see how it is. And just to be able to like report to other people and talk to other people about it and like give my opinion of it, and wrap my mind around it as a concept. And like the second time I ever put it on, it was like that's uh, um the H word that we're not gonna say on YouTube because YouTube has all kinds of weird, crazy rules now, but I think y'all know what I mean here. That, like, the second time I ever put it on was, like, the most like, oh, I want out of this thing right now, but no, that I've ever been in my life. Like like the psychological thing that happens in that experience was like, oh, now I understand why people like this. This is fun. So it really that really opened me up to trying a lot of other things that like I've never been a fan of like disposable pull-ups, anything that's like cloth backed because like for me disposables were always like plastic backed because growing up when I did, that's what diapers were. Um so but like it really like was like, hey, let's give some of these other ideas a try. So I've got an episode of the podcast that's going to come out next year that deals with that idea of like, hey, here's these other ideas to play with. Um, and so, but yeah, so like for me, I was doing Locktober as kind of like a I wanted to kind of make a statement about yeah. I'm with you on that one, or always have been, but whereas I still really wouldn't call pull up diapers. I like have changed my position on using them. Um, or my desire to incorporate them. I used to not have any interest in them at all, but like the 2XL Good Nights came out, and I'm like, okay, once again, I'm reviewing something that's outside my wheelhouse to like, you know, to be able to report on this because this is something that's getting talked about a lot within the subculture. Um, and I tried them out. I'm like, okay, they did these right. Like, I'm down. I'm okay. I'm on board. um, and the for me, it was like the ability to use those to have like a transition. And like for me, like a solo play on a Saturday is like I start off in my big boy undies, and then oh no, couldn't keep them dry. Oh, okay, well, guess we have to wear a pull-up. Oh no, you got the pull-up wet and it leaked. Oh, well, you're not big enough for those. We got to put you back into real diaper. It's kind of part of the play thing for me, you know, and like using that and incorporating it with what I'm doing in my reality. Because a lot of times I'm doing chore like dishes and laundry and all these other things, and then I'll stop because I'm a tobacco smoker and a you know coffee drinker because I'm a 44-year-old blue collar dude, so like stop to have a smoke and a cup of coffee. Oh well, you're doing big boy stuff. You got to get punished for that. And then like when I accomplish dishes and laundry and all those other daily tasks, and then I get rewarded for those things, and then you've also got this like staging of regression of like, oh, we're here now, we're here now, we're here, and then when it's bedtime, I'm all the way down, and you know, it's eh, you know, so it's just kind of really expanding my mind and experimenting with different concepts to um really explore myself and like have a fulfilling and immersive experience, and then there's other things that we really can't talk about on YouTube that we could do on Discord, which I have all that set up already. But anyway, we could have spicier conversations over there. But that's kind of like so as I've been involved with like the social media thing and trying to um y- just connect with people and and be able to talk to people and be able to understand different concepts. And because like I find it fascinating. I often refer to myself as a kinky anthropologist. Um, just like the idea of like how people relate to kink and sexuality just makes the gears in my brain go crazy. And at the same time, like my brain also just does this stuff on its own. Like I'll get on Reddit and I'll find somebody like posting something of like, "Hey, I'm having trouble with this idea," and I'm just like my brain just does it. Like, um, I ran across one person who was like, "I'm a DL. I'm not an age player." Yada yada yada. I'm like, "Okay, that's cool. Whatever." He's like, "My girlfriend, she's cool to wear the diapers, but the one thing she won't do is mess, and that's the one thing I want." I'm like, "Have you guys considered the banana trick?" And he was just like, "I don't know why I didn't think of that, but that is now gonna be part of the conversation." I'm like, "There you go, bud. That's how you solve these problems. You just think outside the box because the box is not there." Oh, yeah, logging into Discord, yeah, like, if you have more than especially if you have more than one account, I don't know if you do, I do. I have I have 2 accounts on Discord, and Discord does not like me switching between those on different devices or on the same device. Like, I can be logged into one on one device and logged into one on another device, but if I try to switch it up on the same device, Discord's like, "No!" So, yeah, something to do with the way their system works. But yeah, I know, what it all boils down to is I think a lot of the stuff that's still needing work in our subculture is like number one, eh, let's stop internalizing secondhand shame. Like it, it stop pathologizing ourselves. Like everybody's like, "Oh well, what do you think made you ABDL?" It's like it could be, like there's there's genetic evidence that people are like predisposed to being able to develop a kink. Like there's actual like they've done like genetic studies on this. There's a certain gene that makes people predisposed to being able to develop a kink, just like being gay or any like there's it's complicated. But like so we got to stop pathologizing it and like trying to find a reason like okay, for scientifically it's interesting if we could figure out causes to things because that's kind of what science does. But as far as like living with feeling the way that we do, like stop treating it like it's something to cure. It's not something that needs to be fixed. It's not something that's wrong with you. And that's why I started saying, that's like what we need is a little less punk out and a little more punk rock. You know, pushing back against the status quo is a good thing. And that's, you know, and so to stop pathologizing ourselves, stop internalizing what other people tell us that we should feel shameful about, and to recognize that like life and biology and everything is just way more complicated than that. It's way more nuanced. Stop like the boxes are they're just there as guidelines. It's actually one big smear. They're like it is like just chill out. Kick back. Like if you're not hurting anybody, just enjoy your time s- and feel good, especially if it's not hurting anyone. If it's not hurting anyone else and it's making you feel good, then it's making you feel good. And overall, that's net positive for the human species. Let's all just stop being ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. And it's the same thing with the LGBTQ plus argument. It's the same thing with like just it's everything. It's like, dude, people we're all just a bunch of weird mutant monkeys doing weird mutant monkey shit. We're all just weird mutant monkeys. Stop trying to judge the other monkeys and just eat your banana. I don't know. Or put your banana in the freezer and then put it somewhere else. I don't know. Yes, the banana trick. We'll leave it at that. And I am experienced with this, and I've gone. I'm like Star Trek light years beyond the banana trick. Y- y'all don't even know. I'm the Gene Roddenberry of ABDL, and thankfully, you guys are both old enough to actually know what the hell I'm talking about. uh, this a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Uh, yeah. I started there and I had some other ideas and I tried those. And then I had one other idea. And that idea is um, we can, you can get a hold of me various other ways that isn't a live stream on YouTube. And we'll talk about that if you're interested. So, all right, we're drawing in on 50 minutes, and this has been a meandering thing, but it's been there were other people in here at some point, just nobody got in on the chat, so whatever. Um, I want to kind of do these a little more often. I've also, if we can get stuff going on Discord where we can do lots of other things. Um, I've got like some old school Tom and Jerry cartoons and everything else, like old like old cartoons that I remember having like ABDL vibes for me. I've got a bunch of them that I found on YouTube, and I think I've got a playlist on there. Uh, but I thought it'd be fun to like get together on Discord and do like movie night type thing every once in a while. So, it's just about, you know, getting the foundation laid for the community and getting conversations going and getting people talking to each other. So, we'll see when we do this again. You guys have been fun. Interstate 5 out on the West Coast. I'm glad you're somewhere where you can find people and have interaction. Have you heard of Ripping Friends? No, I haven't. Um, let's see. Yeah, we're at 50 minutes. Um, would would you mind hitting me up either email or DM on I old cartoon? Huh? No, I'm down to check it out though. Um, I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Reddit. I'm on Instagram. There's always my email. My FetLife is Indiana Pers without the 1792. There's a bunch of different ways to get a hold of me um, for other conversations. So, but I'm gonna call it here because I am a tobacco smoker, and it's been multiple hours since I've had a smoke, so I need to go do that. But y'all have been fun. I'm glad to have the conversation with y'all, and maybe we can start doing a regular thing here and get some more people to show up and have some more fun and get to make some silly jokes. Till next time, stay padded and a little less punk out, a little more punk rock.